Barbara, it's lovely to chat to you today for She Can. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for inviting me for this nice conversation. Well, actually, I'm a lawyer and I work in an international law firm that is based in Italy, that is called Bonelli Rede. I've been a partner for almost 15 years now. I'm a so-called business lawyer, meaning I assist listed companies or non-listed companies in mainly carrying out extraordinary transactions. So I love my job. It's very interesting and there's always a lot to learn.
Thank you for sharing that, Barbara. Tell us a little bit about your journey. So how did you get from being a young girl to being where you are today?
Well, actually, I've always been very, I've always loved law in general. My father was a judge. And actually, I mean, in my family, we have had judges for maybe 3 or 4 generations. So we have the law in our blood, if I can say so. But I didn't want to go to follow my father's path. I always wanted to be a lawyer and advocacy, doing advocacy. So always defended my positions at school. And then when I finished my high school, I found that, I mean, choosing law was a natural choice. I mean, I didn't have to think about it. And I finished my law course. At the time it was 5 years. So in 4.5 years, I was already finished. Then I went I did a stage at the European Commission between Luxembourg and Brussels, and it was a wonderful experience, I would say. And then I started my career very young, at 24 years old. And first I started in a very traditional law firm where I used to do litigation that was paid literally in merchandise, meaning I was given, maybe I didn't give law advice, and I was paid in one day there was a client coming, bringing pigeons, and I decided maybe that is not my first choice, but it was very interesting. I'm only having the chance to talk to people, understanding their problems. And it was very important step. Then I was hired by a more, I would say, business law firm and labor law litigation. And after a couple of years of training, I was hired by one of the big law firms in Italy. And there it was, I would say, 1997, so a lot of time ago. And I started to assist listed companies, extraordinary transactions. So I had the chance to do IPOs, secondary offer. It was very hectic. After then, I came to Bonelli Rede, and of course I continued my career. Where am I now? I've been a partner for, I said, almost 20 years. I became, and I want to underline that, I became partner when I had my second child, and equity partner after I had my third child. So I've never been in the position to having to make a choice between family and career. I've always thought the two things could combine together, could go together.
And you did so well with that, Barbara. It's very inspiring how you managed such a big career. Barbara, tell us a little what motivates you every day to keep doing this.
What motivates me? I mean, I would say I like my job. I like what I do. I liked helping companies to achieve their goal, their objectives. And I like the fact that there's always a lot to learn. So there was a lot to study. For instance, now I'm very fascinated by all the issues relating to ESG. And so I assist company in implementing ESG policies and facing ESG risks. And I think this is my motivation, the passion for what I do. Without calculating, I would say I do this because I have to get certain objective. I think the passion it's a driver of our profession, of all professions. I mean, it's how it should be.
I completely agree with you, Barbara. Tell us, what is your superpower? What makes you so good at what you do?
Well, I mean, thank you for saying. I'm always try to do my best, and I hope I mean the people like what I do. My clients, I think I mean the clients, what they tell about me. What I tell about me is that I'm very well organized. I think that this is one of the things that helped me a lot. The so-called multitasking, meaning that I try, especially, of course, multitasking my personal life, but also multitasking in managing extraordinary transactions. You have to consider that when you carry out, when you need to get a certain objectives, especially in complex transactions, you need to manage different work streams. And what really I think it's important is that, I mean, the clients need to understand that everything is under control. For instance, you have to manage a cross-border merger, cross-border transactions, an IPO. You need to make them understand, and they need to make them, they must feel comfortable that everything is under control. But this means that you have to manage different work streams and bringing and carrying out the work in parallel. That's very important. So I think organization, you have to plan in advance your work stream and your objectives. So this is, I mean, what I try to implement in my personal and professional life. And trying to be organized. And there's always of course, the accident or something that's not foreseeable. But even in that event, you always have to organize it, to think in advance. There may be something unforeseeable that happens, and trying to manage it. But maybe being the mother of 3 boys helped me in this respect. There's always something unexpected that happens every day.
And you're in full control, Barbara. It's admirable.
No, in that respect, I try to be in control. I try to be organized, to be in control, but there's always something happening. I mean, but in work, it's easier.
What would your top tips be for other women, Barbara?
That's really, this is really a very important question. And thank you for asking, Stephanie. I think that our profession not really our profession, our life goals changed in the last 20 years. When we were in the 90s or even in the early 2000s, you had, I mean, in my professional life, you had to get certain objectives. You had to succeed. You had to be successful, and success means to be a successful lawyer, to get paid more. I mean, these were the messages coming from our society. If you were a mother and you had to have some time off, you needed to ask. It was not expected. It was not, you did not expect to be granted. So, I mean, at least in our profession. Now things have completely changed. And I think that women should be more aware of the fact that they are entitled to time off in their life. So they are valuable professionals, but you need to have time off. You need to have some time to do your personal stuff. You don't need to be scared to ask. I mean, if you have a valued professional, you have to be sure you have to do your job in a state of mind that allows you to work at the best. This is my first tip. So don't be, you need to take your time. The second tip is that I believe that sometimes in our professional life, we tend to work hard without having a strategy. I think that we should have I mean, your professional life, especially in your early career, you need to have a strategy. You need to know where you want to go, where you want to get, to be more, to talk to people, a job, in your peers, your bosses, your associates, your teammates. You need to be more attentive to the messages that you receive and the messages that you want to give. You need to have a strategy in your professional life. Sometimes what I see is that in our law firm, in our law firms, you have maybe 50% of associates that are hired, but after sometimes, for certain reasons, either the women drop their job or they're not perceived as motivated, they're not perceived as being able to manage other people to work in team. And this is, maybe this is something we should work on a little bit more. So be more, don't only look at your table. You have to look above your table and think where you're going and manage your own career and relationships. I mean, instead of working 10 hours a day, take your time and maybe have a coffee with a colleague, with your boss, but not because the exchange sometimes gives you more than reading or drafting an additional page of a contract or something else.
I think that's a great tip, Barbara. Thank you for giving that. I think that's a human thing, and I think that women are very good at this human touch and the communication. Barbara, as a last question, what would you say? What do you want to be in your future? I mean, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I think I would like to continue doing what I do. What I see is that I would rather think about strategy and maybe trying to build not a model for younger generations. Let me explain this to you a little bit better. I would like to give my commitment to objectives that are more social, but this does not mean that I want to abandon my career, but I would like to see myself in 5 years' time and having reached a goal in terms of increasing the quality of life, not quality of life of the people that work in law firms, and bringing maybe more ethics in the way we carry out our job. But let's be careful. I don't want to say that we don't have ethics in doing our job, but I think that we need to have objectives. We need to carry out objectives, even in the law professions, that are sustainable. I know this is very fashionable. I think that even if this is something that's very fashionable, I would say, issue to talk about. One thing is to talk about this, and one thing is to implement really a strategy to get to that objective. So in 5 years' time, I see myself having reached, or at least put in place concrete strategies to get those objectives. This is my ideal.
I love that, Barbara. Thank you for sharing that. That's very inspiring. Thanks,
Steffi, for inviting me. I hope this is, interesting and useful for all of you.
Very interesting. Thank you.